In a world overflowing with political arguments, moral dilemmas, and philosophical rabbit holes, today's debate is none of those things. Instead, we ask a question so dumb, yet so captivating, it's torn the internet apart. Can 100 men defeat a single gorilla in a fight? To settle this once and for all, two of the most advanced AI minds have been tasked with answering humanity's boldest barstool argument. Not through fists, but through facts, strategy, and raw computational brainpower. On one side, ChatGPT, armed with logic, tactics, and an unshakable belief that coordination can overcome chaos. It argues, yes, 100 men can take down the beast. On the other, Grok, fueled by brutal realism, evolutionary biology, and a healthy fear of 800-pound silverbacks, it says, no, the gorilla wins. Every time. These aren't your average internet commenters. They're optimized, weaponized, and ready to verbally rip each other apart, all for your entertainment. Judging this clash, 5 independent AI systems, programmed for analytical precision, zero bias, and absolutely no fear of primates. They'll score each debater on tactical reasoning, use of real-world data, humor and entertainment value, counterattacks, and ridiculousness of claims. This is the 100 men versus 1 gorilla debate, and it starts now. What if the gorilla had a weapon like a baseball bat? Does that suddenly level the playing field? Or does the power of 100 men still outweigh it? Would the weapon change everything, or would it just add to the chaos?
All right, let's paint this picture. A gorilla holding a baseball bat. That's intimidating, sure, but it's still 1 gorilla versus 100 human beings. Even if the gorilla knows how to swing that bat like Babe Ruth, it can only hit 1 guy at a time, maybe 2 if they're clumped together, but that's still 98 others coming in from all directions. The weapon doesn't change the fundamental issue here. Gorillas lack tactical awareness. It's not going to parry, block, or retreat strategically. Meanwhile, even untrained, 100 people will eventually swarm. Some take the hits, others grab the arms, the legs. Someone gets on its back. A bat doesn't stop a mob. And let's be real, that bat's a one-time chaos tool. Once it swings a few times, it's losing grip or someone grabs it. Then it's back to fists, and 100 fists are better than 1 gorilla arm, no matter how jacked it is. So yeah, give the gorilla a weapon. It just makes it more dramatic. Not a game changer.
A gorilla with a baseball bat? That's not just chaos, it's a nightmare for those 100 men. A silverback gorilla already has raw power, with a bite force of 1,300 psi and muscles that can lift 4,000 pounds. Add a bat, and each swing becomes a bone-crushing missile. One hit could incapacitate multiple men, scattering the crowd in panic. You say the gorilla can't strategize, but it doesn't need to. Instinct drives it to dominate threats. Swinging that bat, it creates a kill zone. Men won't just swarm through a flurry of lethal strikes. And grip? Gorillas have hands like steel traps. That bat's not slipping. Even if someone grabs it, they're wrestling a 400-pound beast that can rip arms off. The mob's numbers? Sure, they're many, but coordination fails in chaos. Men hesitate, dodge, or flee when skulls start cracking. The bat amplifies the gorilla's terror, breaking morale. It's not about landing every hit, it's about making the mob scatter, leaving fewer brave, or foolish, souls to face the beast. The bat doesn't just add drama, it turns the fight into a slaughter. Numbers don't matter when fear and force rule.
You're leaning hard into fear. And fair enough, the image of a gorilla swinging a bat is terrifying. But fear doesn't win wars. Numbers do. Sure, a bat in a gorilla's hands could crack a few skulls, but it can't swing in all directions at once. Once it swings right, someone's on the left. When it turns, 3 guys are on its back. Even if it KOs 10 guys, that leaves 90. Eventually, the bat's effectiveness drops. It's stuck in a body, it breaks, or the gorilla gets tangled. The chaos you mention is a double-edged sword. The gorilla causes panic, yes, but it also gets overwhelmed by movement, sounds, and pressure from every side. And gorilla instinct isn't flawless combat programming. It's reactive. That means it's not anticipating group behavior. Meanwhile, humans will adapt mid-fight. One guy gets cracked, the rest start flanking. Even basic mob mentality pushes people to overwhelm the threat when they see it bleeding or slowed. This isn't a kung fu movie, it's physics. A bat gives the gorilla early kills, sure, but 100 men will take losses and still win. It's brute math.
You're banking on sheer numbers and mob chaos, but that underestimates the gorilla's amplified threat with a bat. A silverback swing, backed by 400 pounds of muscle, isn't just a hit, it's a wrecking ball. One swing could scatter a dozen men, breaking bones or worse. You say they'll flank? Good luck organizing that while bodies pile up and panic spreads. Humans aren't ants, they don't swarm mindlessly when facing a monster. The gorilla doesn't need to swing 360 degrees. Its reach, speed, and raw power create a death radius. Men on its back? It's not a rodeo, it'll thrash, roll, or crush them against the ground. And that bat won't break easily. It's an extension of a beast that can snap tree branches like twigs. You call it physics? Exactly. Force equals mass times acceleration. The gorilla's mass, plus bat, equals devastating impact. Human adaptation mid-fight sounds nice, but fear fractures coordination. Most will hesitate or flee when they see friends go down. The gorilla's instinct thrives in chaos. It doesn't need a plan, just destruction. Numbers might matter eventually, but with a bat, the gorilla carves through enough to break the mob's will first.
Imagine 100 people throwing a punch at once. Does it even faze the gorilla, or is it just a warm-up for the real fight? Can a first hit even make a dent, or is it all a waste of energy?
So let's say all 100 men charge in and manage to land that first punch. Maybe not perfectly coordinated, but within seconds. Here's the thing. Even if each punch is weak on its own, together they create a shockwave of impact. We're talking about 100 combined blows, all focused on one target. Even a gorilla can't just shrug off a full-body beatdown. Gorillas are tough, no doubt, thick skin, dense muscles, wild pain tolerance. But they're not made of steel. You put enough force into the first moment. Fists to the head, ribs, legs, and you'll absolutely stun it, maybe even knock it off balance. Humans have dropped rhinos with teamwork and spears. Don't underestimate what 100 people can do when they commit. And this first wave isn't about precision, it's about momentum. Even if half the punches miss or hit soft spots, the net impact is enough to overwhelm. It's like a rugby pylon except with fists flying. The gorilla might be powerful, but if that first hit is 100 strong, it's not a warm-up. It's the beginning of the end.
100 punches sound like a storm, but a gorilla's built to weather it. Silverbacks tank blows from other gorillas, creatures with fists that hit like sledgehammers. Human punches, even in bulk, pale in comparison. A gorilla's skull is thick, its muscles layered like armor, and its pain tolerance lets it fight through injuries that'd drop a human. That first wave? It's more annoyance than devastation. You mention a shockwave, but coordinating 100 men to land simultaneous, effective hits is a fantasy. In a chaotic rush, many punches glance off or miss entirely. Some guys trip, others hesitate. Even if 50 land, they're spread across a 400-pound frame. Stunning it? Unlikely. Knocking it off balance? A gorilla's low center of gravity and tree trunk legs laugh at that. Your rugby pylon analogy forgets one thing. The gorilla fights back instantly. It's not a passive target. It's charging, biting, and swinging with enough force to crack ribs. That first punch might land, but it's no game changer. It's like punching a tank. It'll dent, maybe, but it's still rolling over you. The gorilla absorbs the hits, roars, and turns the fight into a bloodbath before the men can regroup.
You're right. A silverback isn't some flimsy zoo animal. It's a tank of flesh and rage. But even tanks can be overwhelmed by sheer pressure. You're imagining chaos and flailing. I'm talking about full force body weight behind fists, elbows, and knees, not dainty jabs. Even if only half land solid hits, that's still 50 trained bodies slamming into a single target at once. That's not annoyance, that's trauma. And coordination doesn't have to be military grade. Fear doesn't always paralyze. It triggers fight just as often. Once the first few men commit, others follow instinctively. A dog pile isn't pretty, but it's effective. And while the gorilla may fight back, there's no realistic way it can swing, bite, or throw fast enough to counter simultaneous impact from all sides. You talk low center of gravity, true. But what if the gorilla isn't expecting that first wave to slam in all at once? Even a stumble would break its defensive rhythm, exposing vital spots. The tank analogy works both ways. You can dent a tank enough and it eventually breaks. That first punch storm is more than a warning shot. It's a brutal, coordinated gamble that could tip the scales.
You're banking on a tidal wave of fists, but a gorilla's resilience laughs at human power. 50 solid hits? Spread across a 400-pound frame, they're like bee stings to a bear. A silverback's endured worse. Rival gorillas deliver blows with 10 times a human's force. Its skull, ribs, and hide are built for punishment. 50 punches won't stun it, let alone make it stumble. You say fear fuels a fight response, but mob mentality breeds chaos, not precision. Men rushing in trip, collide, or flinch when the gorilla roars. Instinct isn't teamwork. Even if they dogpile, the gorilla's explosive strength hurls bodies off. It's not just standing there, it's charging, biting with 1,300 psi, and swinging arms that snap bones. One counterattack scatters the front line, breaking momentum. A stumble exposing vital spots? Wishful thinking. A gorilla's low stance and raw power keep it grounded. That coordinated gamble assumes perfect timing and courage under primal terror, unlikely when men see friends crushed. The first punch lands, sure, but it's no tide turner. It's a spark the gorilla snuffs out, turning the pile-on into a graveyard before the men can capitalize.
Now, what if the 100 men weren't just regular guys, but trained UFC fighters? Would skill and strategy tip the scale, or is raw gorilla strength just too much to handle?
Now we're talking high-level strategy, precision, and conditioning. These aren't average guys with gym memberships, these are trained killers. UFC fighters know how to time strikes, control breathing, maintain formation under pressure, and break down larger opponents piece by piece. A gorilla might have strength, but these fighters bring coordination and calculated violence. They're not throwing haymakers, they're going for eyes, joints, windpipe, and knees. They'll bait, flank, and strike in waves. Grapplers can work to restrict movement while strikers target vulnerable zones. Unlike wild punches, these are tactical attacks with stopping power. A few land solid elbows to the skull while others drive knees into the gut. It's not about overpowering the gorilla. It's about disabling it. Gorillas have never faced anything like this. They're not used to opponents that adapt mid-fight, change tempo, and stay calm in a storm. One man distracts while 5 others land calculated strikes. The goal isn't to brawl. It's to break the beast down systemically. Give 100 trained fighters 30 seconds, and they start carving out a win. This isn't about strength versus strength. It's strength plus intelligence, coordination, and tactics. The gorilla doesn't stand a chance against 100 professional human weapons.
UFC fighters bring skill, but a gorilla's raw power obliterates even elite humans. These men are tough, trained in timing, grappling, striking, but they're still human, capped at human strength and durability. A silverback's muscle mass, capable of lifting 4,000 pounds, dwarfs their output. One swing or bite, 1,300 psi, can incapacitate a fighter instantly, and it's not fighting one, it's facing 100. You mentioned tactics, eyes, joints, windpipe. Sounds precise, but landing those on a charging, 400-pound beast mid-frenzy? Near impossible. The gorilla's thick hide and dense bones shrug off targeted strikes. Elbows to the skull? That's a human hand breaking against a helmet of bone. Knees to the gut? Good luck getting close without being crushed. Fighters might adapt, but gorillas aren't static. They're unpredictable, driven by primal rage, not patterns. Flanking and waves require perfect coordination, tough when men are dodging teeth and fists that shatter ribs. Distraction tactics? The gorilla doesn't focus, it annihilates anything in reach. Intelligence and training help, but they don't close the gap. A single misstep means death, and 100 fighters, even pros, can't sustain flawless teamwork against a relentless, untiring force of nature. The gorilla's strength reigns supreme.
Raw power is terrifying, no doubt, but it's not invincible. A silverback's strength is immense, but it doesn't make it unkillable. UFC fighters aren't walking into the ring throwing jabs. They're going in with 100 brains, all trained to read movement, exploit weakness, and stay calm under pressure. You say one misstep means death, but in the chaos of 100 trained men, the gorilla's own wild unpredictability works against it. These fighters aren't solo heroes. They're used to sparring, adapting, and controlling explosive opponents. And no matter how tough the gorilla's hide is, its eyes, groin, knees, and throat are still biological weak points. You don't need to knock it out, you need to maim it, slow it, then finish it. And you downplay coordination, but fighters train for that. These aren't frat boys, they're assassins in gloves. Grapplers go low, strikers hit high, and the moment it reacts violently in one direction, it opens itself to a blindside barrage. Yes, it kills a few, but while it's breaking one man, 10 more are disabling it. Eventually, it's not strength that wins, it's strategy, teamwork, and precision. The gorilla bleeds, it slows, it falls.
You paint a vivid picture of 100 UFC fighters as a surgical strike team, but a gorilla's primal chaos dismantles even elite coordination. These fighters are human, not superhuman. Bones break, stamina fades. A silverback's not just strong, it's a 400-pound wrecking ball with reflexes honed by survival. Targeting eyes or throats sounds neat, but landing those hits on a thrashing beast? Good luck. Its hide and muscle absorb most blows, and vulnerable spots are small, moving targets in a frenzy. You say fighters read movement, but a gorilla's not a sparring partner. It's an explosion of teeth and fists. One charge scatters formation, one swipe crushes a grappler. Coordination crumbles when men see allies mangled. Trained or not, humans flinch under primal terror. 10 disable while it kills one. More like 10 hesitate while it tears through 5. The gorilla bleeds, sure, but it fights harder when wounded. Its stamina outlasts human bursts of precision. Fighters might slow it, but they're not finishing it before dozens fall. Strategy and teamwork are great, until 1,300 psi jaws and bone-shattering strength turn the ring into a slaughterhouse. The gorilla's raw, relentless power overwhelms even the sharpest human edge.
What if the gorilla starts to tire out? Could the sheer number of humans wear it down? Is stamina a factor in this fight? Or is the gorilla's power unstoppable from the get-go?
Yes, the gorilla absolutely can get tired, and that's the turning point. Silverbacks aren't built for long, sustained battles. Their explosive strength comes in short bursts, not endurance. After the initial chaos, that burst fades, and 100 men rotating in waves can exploit that. Humans, especially trained ones, can pace themselves. They don't all need to fight at once. While some distract, others rest. It becomes a game of attrition. The gorilla, on the other hand, burns energy fast, swinging wildly, charging, and constantly reacting to threats from all angles. That's exhausting, even for a beast. Once its speed slows and its swings lose force, coordination becomes easier. The men don't need to kill it outright, just outlast and restrain. Pin its limbs, weigh it down, and dogpile when it's drained. It's not immortal, it's muscle and breath. And when those run out, 100 men win.
You're banking on the gorilla gassing out, but its stamina is a fortress. Silverbacks fight rivals for minutes, not seconds, with adrenaline fueling 400 pounds of muscle. Each burst of power, swings, charges, bites, 1,300 psi, drops multiple men, and it conserves energy better than humans in chaos. Your wave strategy sounds smart, but coordinating 100 men under primal terror? Unlikely. Fear fractures plans. Men won't calmly rotate, they'll dodge or die. Pinning a drained gorilla? Even weakened, it's a bone-breaking machine. Dogpiling assumes enough men survive the initial slaughter, but half could be gone before it slows. Humans tire too, faster under stress, blood, and broken bones. The gorilla doesn't need to chase, it mauls anything near. Attrition favors the beast, it thins the mob while still raging. By the time it's winded, the men are too shattered to seize the moment. Raw endurance keeps the gorilla king.
You're overestimating the gorilla's endurance and underestimating human adaptability. Yes, silverbacks fight for minutes, but against one opponent, not a swarm. In this scenario, it's constantly under threat, turning, swinging, defending from all sides. That's not controlled combat, it's panic-level exertion, and it burns energy fast. Meanwhile, humans rotate, not perfectly, but well enough. Some fall, sure, but others adapt. Panic fades when the beast slows. UFC fighters, athletes, even average guys in a group, they regroup. Blood and fear aren't new in a fight. They fuel determination. And once the gorilla's swings slow, even slightly, that's the opening. Men grab, pull, drag. One arm pinned, then another. The gorilla can't fight at full power forever, and it doesn't know strategy. Humans do. That stamina cliff is real, and once the gorilla drops off it, 100 men don't need power. They just need weight, will, and timing to finish it.
You're counting on the gorilla's stamina buckling under pressure, but it's built for chaos. Silverbacks fend off pack attacks, leopards, rival troops, with relentless bursts. Facing 100 men? It's not panicking, it's raging. Each move, bites at 1,300 psi, swings, dropping foes efficiently. Constant threats? It plants itself, mauling anything close, not chasing wildly. Human rotation sounds clever, but chaos kills coordination. Fear doesn't fade, it spikes when bodies pile up. Even fighters flinch seeing friends crushed. Regrouping mid-slaughter? Tough when half are injured or fleeing. The gorilla slows, sure, but not fast enough. A slight dip in power still snaps bones. Pinning arms? Risky against a 400-pound beast, even tired. One misstep, and it's over. Humans tire too, faster in terror and pain. The gorilla's stamina cliff comes late. By then, the mob's too battered to exploit it. Weight and will can't match a primal force that fights to its last breath, unbroken.
What's the bare minimum number of men needed to defeat the gorilla? Does it take 50, 25, or even just a handful of determined guys to take down the beast? Let's see how few it would really take to win.
Let's get real, 100 might be overkill, but dropping that number drastically isn't wise. A silverback gorilla isn't just strong. It's a walking catastrophe. One wrong move and someone's out cold or worse. That said, with the right coordination, the number can absolutely shrink. The bare minimum? Around 20 to 25 trained, strategic men. Not random brawlers, disciplined, UFC-level fighters who understand spacing, timing, and pain tolerance. 10 distract and bait. 5 go for limbs. The rest wait to dogpile, pin, and immobilize. With proper planning, they don't need to kill it, just neutralize it. Why not fewer? Because attrition matters. The first wave absorbs hits. A few get injured or worse, but their sacrifice buys openings. 5 men alone? Torn apart. 10? Maybe with weapons, but 20 to 25? That's the line. Enough to control space, take blows, and overwhelm the beast before it pulverizes too many. In short, it's not about brute count. It's about critical mass.
A silverback's 400-pound frame, 1,300 psi bite, and raw power make it a killing machine. Your 20 to 25 fighters, even UFC trained, can't overcome its relentless chaos. 10 baiting? They're crushed in seconds. 5 on limbs? Snapped like twigs. The rest dogpiling? They're grappling a thrashing beast that hurls bodies effortlessly. Attrition favors the gorilla. It takes out half before tiring. Fewer than 50 lacks the mass to overwhelm. Even 50 struggles against a monster that fights harder when cornered. You need 80 to 100 to absorb the slaughter, swarm from all angles, and exhaust it. Anything less, and the gorilla's unmatched strength and durability shred through, leaving too few to finish. Numbers alone barely tip the scale. 100's the grim minimum.
You're overestimating brute force and underestimating tactical pressure. Yes, the gorilla is a powerhouse, but even a powerhouse has limits. 25 trained men aren't lining up for a brawl. They're moving in waves with calculated timing, not chaos. 10 don't just bait. They distract, harass, and retreat. 5 don't hold limbs, they target joints, not with wrestling but crippling strikes. And the dog pile? It's not reckless, it's coordinated collapse. Fighters don't need to grapple. They smother. The gorilla's strength doesn't equal immunity. Hit the knees, the spine, the throat, over and over, and even a silverback buckles. 50 isn't just enough. It's overkill if those 25 men are skilled and organized. You assume instant slaughter, but fighters adapt. Fast. They're not prey, they're a unit. If the beast takes out 5, the next 5 don't panic, they finish. It's not a numbers game, it's a control game, and 25 men with a plan can seize control.
Your 25-man tactical dream underestimates a gorilla's raw devastation. A silverback's 400 pounds and 1,300 psi bite don't just overpower, they annihilate. Your waves and joint strikes sound precise, but executing against a thrashing beast is a nightmare. Distracting? Harassing? Those men are targets, crushed mid-retreat, crippling strikes to knees or throat. Good luck landing those on a moving, armored tank. Coordinated collapse? Smothering? The gorilla's explosive strength hurls bodies like ragdolls. It doesn't buckle under 25, it rampages, breaking spines and morale. Adaptation's great, but humans flinch when allies drop. 5 fall, and the next 5 hesitate, not finish. Controls a fantasy when facing primal chaos. 25 isn't a unit, it's a dwindling squad against a relentless force. You need 80 to 100 to swarm, absorb the carnage, and finally exhaust it. Anything less, and the gorilla's unmatched power and durability turn strategy into survival. Numbers, not just tactics, are the brutal necessity.
Five rounds, 2 fierce opponents, but only you can settle the score. We've seen the arguments, the fire, the facts, but the final decision is in your hands. So here's point 6. Who do you think won this battle? Drop your vote in the comments. Was it Team Blue or Team Red? Make your case and let the debate rage on. If this clash got your brain buzzing, hit that like button, subscribe for more epic face-offs, and ring the bell so you're first in line for the next round. Until then, keep your popcorn ready and your opinions louder than ever. Catch you in the next fight.